Hey, Michelle with Treecat here. Happy Saturday and happy spring forward. Is it spring forward or are we springing back? I don't know. Let's see. Looks like we are moving ahead. So we lose an hour this Sunday. Looks like March 9th. We are changing daylight savings, unless you live in Arizona, then you're not. But for the rest of us, we will be springing forward. Yes, springing forward and losing an hour of sleep. So instead of 2 a.m., it will be 3 a.m. on Sunday, March 9th. So mark your calendars. Don't forget about that. Hope you guys are all having a great Saturday. It is definitely looking like spring, which is super exciting, except for those of us with allergies. Hope you're not one of those. I am, unfortunately. But you know what? We still have our coffee. hmm And we're here and we're coffee chatting. We're having a fun time chatting about Treecat chat. What are we talking about today? Well, we are talking about the ABCs of reselling. I got into it last week and back by popular demand, I'm going to continue it because I couldn't fit it all in last week. So I want to start with the letter I. So I've gotten through a lot of these. I've been posting stuff on social media all week, and hopefully that's helpful to some people. Feel free to check it out on Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, YouTube, Facebook, and Blue Sky. That's all of our social medias, and we're either as Treecat or Treecat.io. So let's get into it. Let's talk more about the ABCs of reselling. I left off with the letter I. And I wanted to talk about I being interest. I is for interest. And it's about, keeping buyers interested, really. And, we are just in such a competitive time now for e-commerce. It's every year that I've been involved with it, it's more and more competitive. But that's okay because we have tools, we have ideas, we have concepts, we have plans, right? To have success with our reselling and our selling and our online selling and our e-commerce. So what I mean by I is for interest is we want to make sure that we are maintaining our buyers' interests because, like, as you know, we're in the age of social media and people get distracted. So you want to try to hook them and get them to look at your listings. And so you want to make sure that you have quality listings. So let's see here. You want to generate interest from your buyers by having quality listings with appealing photos. I like a white background because it indexes it on Google quite nicely. Um, you want to make sure you have detailed descriptions that are not too long, but give enough detailed information so that they understand what they're buying. The other way to generate interest is to use promotions and sales. And what I really like, I'm not so fond of like the offsite sales. That's not for me. Or pay per click is not necessarily for me. I'll do a promotion for sure. I'll go anywhere from 2.1%, even up to as much as 8%. It just depends on the item. And so I do run promotions. And so I think that promotions are at this point kind of a best practice. So I also really like the fact that on eBay specifically, they allow you to send a newsletter out to your buyers, which is really great. They also allow you to do coupons to buyers and to send coupons to them. So some really great things to consider to keep the interest of your buyers. Let's move on to the letter J. J is for joy. It's really, we all have our joys with selling, and I gotta say, my big joy is, of course, sourcing, and yours might be too. That's my cope. That's my hobby. I love the shopping part of it, right? I love the procurement part of it. I love the sourcing part of it, right? All of it I love. But that's not going to sustain you long term. I think that we need to think about. Let me move actually to this next. There we go. We need to think about joy in terms of, yes, we love sourcing. That brings us joy. But we also need to love our customers because to have a sustainable presence in e-commerce, when it comes down right to it, you have to like your customers. And so you can love the sourcing, you can love what you sell, And that's I think those are the first 2 pillars, but I think the 3rd pillar needs to be that you like your customer. Because I've sold in categories before where I just didn't like the customer. They were kinda scammy, I've sold, like, in electronics before, and I've sold in, like, cameras before, and I just didn't like the customer as much. There was a lot more returns, um, and I really like the customer that I sell to right now, and that's what keeps me going. It's not the shopping anymore, although kind of sometimes is, but I'm doing more liquidation. So, you don't get to do as much shopping, so shopping, it still brings me joy, but it's a smaller part of my, uh, procurement, picture, but I still love it. But, making sure that you love your customer is gonna help you, with your sustainability as an online seller. Alright, so that's J. Let's, move on to the letter K. K is for knowledge, and, we, always want to make sure that we're keeping up with the latest, you know, trends with e-commerce, and there's 2 really I've mentioned this before, and I'll mention it again, there's 2 really good blogs that you should be reading on a regular basis, Value Added Resource and E-commerce Bites. They both, provide a lot of really good information about the industry and about trends and about what's happening with all these companies. So check those out if you haven't already, and make sure you read them on a regular basis so that you can keep informed, because knowledge is power. L, we're moving on to letter L. And L stands for let it go. Let it go, let it go. Sorry, I'm not the best singer, but you know what I'm talking about, right? We need to let a couple of things go. And one of the things that we need to let go is inventory that's not moving. Okay. You know who your dogs are. You know it. You don't need a dog finder. You know who your dogs are. And I was thinking about getting a, storage unit, but I decided, you know what? I'm just gonna get rid of my dogs. So I don't know if you can see this on the screen, but I have bins and bins, got a few bins that I'm going through because I know they're not gonna sell. They've been in my closet for too long. I don't get a lot of impressions, I don't get a lot of likes, and they're going bye-bye. Oops, they're going bye-bye. So, there just comes a time when you have to let it go and, embrace letting it go. All right, that's letter L. Yeah, and there's other stuff that you can let go when you're a reseller. And I also want to just, make a point that you need to let go of perfectionism, especially when you're trying to list quickly. It doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. The descriptions and the titles, yes, and the pricing, yes. But just let go of that perfectionism. I think if you want to be more efficient, let go of negative experiences. So if you have a bad experience with a buyer, block them and move on, and just don't let it ruin your day. And let go of what doesn't work. And I am letting go of items that are not working for me anymore. Okay. M, let's move on to M. M is for marketing. And basically, we've all been, if you're on eBay, Poshmark, and Mercari, like I am, we've all been relying on these platforms for our marketing, right? A lot of times, we don't spend a lot of time branding ourselves or branding our store. And one of the things that I think is really important is having a personal brand. And also, like even in eBay itself, you can go into eBay and, like, for example, I type in ebay.com Linda's stuff, and it gets me to her store. Now, she's a really great seller. Um, we all aspire to be as awesome as Linda's stuff. And you can go into about, and you can see that how she's branded herself. So you can go in here, and you can in your eBay store, and you can put more information about yourself. So she talks about how she's one of the. Let me actually. There we go. She talks about how this is her brand. She's one of the largest sellers of fashion and apparel on eBay, and she's got a huge collection of designer goods. Her prices are great. You can consign with her, and that's her brand. She's got everything from Chanel to Lululemon, like go Linda's stuff. And then she's got a little video here, right? That tells you about her store, which is really cool. So you can brand yourself on eBay, and you can go on social media, right? And you can have a social media presence. Um, what else? Posh parties. That's another way of kind of, making sure that you're marketing your information. And yeah, It's a whole different animal when you're out there on Shopify and you're doing all your own marketing. It's a whole different animal. We have it so good on eBay, Poshmark, and Mercari because they do the marketing for us, and we don't have to do much, but we can make those steps in the right direction by making sure that we're marketing ourselves and our personal brand of our store and making sure that we understand what our mission statement is as sellers, right? I think that's important. All right, moving on to letter N, niche. Niche. And I found this article about how to find your niche as a new eBay seller. And, you know, understanding a lot of people who get into their niches, they get into it because it's like their hobby and they love collecting this certain thing or they have a special interest in a certain thing and then they start selling it, right? And that's how they get into their niche. I got into my niche a totally different way. I got into my niche because I found that I liked the customer I really liked that customer that I was selling to. And it also met specific criteria, like it ships really inexpensively, so it's lightweight. And so there are just some things that I really like about the niche that I'm in, even though it's not like a really high ranked niche. Like you can go and look up, like on some of those analytics programs that I mentioned last week, you can go up and look and see what are the top trending niches on eBay. And maybe I don't want to be selling in electronics because I don't like the clientele that I have to sell to. So I have a niche that's maybe not as high up in trending in the trending factor, but I like my niche. And so, it sometimes it's trial and error, sometimes it's special interest, but consider consider a niche. Why not, right? If it's working for you, maybe it's time to, hone in on that niche. So N is for a niche. Okay. O, let's move on to O. O is for optimization. This is kind of like SEO, but for resellers, right? You're looking to get your items higher in search ranking, right? Search engine optimization for eBay listings. So you want to make sure that your photos are high quality. I like the white backgrounds. You want to have enough photos, right? You want to do all these things to get your listings optimized so that they get to the top of search. You want to make sure you have, clear titles and descriptions with relevant keywords, and it'll just make things easier to find, right? And so your descriptions have to be there and they have to, answer all the questions that your buyer might have. And I would also make sure that your pricing is on point, and there's ways to, like I mentioned last week, to research pricing. So, consider optimizing your listings so that they rank higher in search. Okay, moving on to letter P. P is for problem solving. I just think that, in today's day and age, we all have to be problem solvers. And that's kind of the key to any job is how can I solve this problem? Pardon me, how can I solve this problem? How can I be a better problem solver? Taking a proactive approach to problem solving instead of a reactive approach, and making it a priority to say, I'm going to be a problem solver today. How am I going to solve this problem? And that's just kind of a general thing, problem solving. I think I learned that later in life that as an employee or as an employer, you're always, or as a business owner, you're always problem solving. And the better you can get at it, the better that your business will be as a result of it. Okay, Q. Q is for quick response. I think it's really important to be able to respond quickly when you have buyer questions, and especially if someone's made you an offer, get back to them really quick because guess what? There's a lot of other people with the same item that you have. So if you're the first one responding to their offer, um, you might be the one getting that sale. All right, moving on. R. R is for, yes, it's for resilience. And I think this is just kind of a general tip. Uh, this is a type of job, reselling that where you have to be adaptable and you have to have perseverance because it's cyclical, it's constantly changing, and it's dynamic. So, the more resilient you can be as an online seller, the better. Okay, moving on to letter T. T is for timing. And I actually just learned about this recently. So a long time ago, I used to schedule my listings so that they would drip all day. And then I started playing around with scheduling them at 6 a.m. and at 7 p.m. because that's when I had the most buyers. But eBay used to charge for that. I think they charge 10 cents per scheduled listing, but I don't think they charge anymore. So I might actually go back to scheduling my listings because I do think timing is important. If you're listing those items and they're getting to the top of search at 7 p.m. when everyone's buying, you're going to have more of a probability of selling that item, right? And so I think timing is really important. Let's see. U is for unique selling proposition. And I think we kind of covered this, but have you ever considered the value that you bring as a seller? And do you have that like in your eBay? Do you have that mission statement that says like when we talked about Linda's stuff, where were we with Linda's stuff? So with Linda's stuff, like this is kind of her mission statement. She's one of the largest sellers of fashion and apparel. She has a coveted collection of designer goods that's second to none. She gives you her mission statement, what she's all about, and it's something to think about. Like, what unique value proposition do you bring as a seller? Because, like I said, this is a super competitive landscape, and you need ways to differentiate yourself and your store. Okay, V is for value. Yeah. So, what are you doing to provide that extra value to your customer? And one of the things that I started doing was I started adding a packing slip to some of my like Mercari, because Treecat lets you do packing ships, right? Custom packing ships, but Mercari doesn't have a way to do packing ships slips. So I provide a custom packing slip in each of my Mercari packages. Because eBay, you can do custom packing slips through them. Same thing with Poshmark, although I don't like Poshmark, so I actually print out my own through Treecat. But I think that you just take that extra step, print out. I put a business card in there, and on the back of that business card, it says like, "Hey, I value your feedback, and if you feel like this is a great experience, please give me 5 stars," sort of like that sort of thing. And thank you for supporting my small business, right? So they know I'm a small business. They know that I value feedback, and I try to do premium packaging, and I try to do a cute poly mailer, right? To sort of stand out, to give them that nice experience, because, like I said, we're in a competitive environment, and it's really important to stand out. So that's V. X is for experimentation. And I think it's important to, as resellers, we kind of can get stuck in our ways sometimes, but it's important to try new things, experiment with new pricing models, maybe offer discounts if you're not already, do some sales. I haven't run a sale in a while, so that actually gives me the reminder to start doing like a spring forward sale this weekend. You can test different listing styles. I started doing like bullets for a while. I thought that was easier to read. Um, Also, I started experimenting with on Poshmark and Mercari with hashtags and looking up like what other hashtags besides basic white shirt. Like could I use like coquette, or could I I don't know. You know what I mean? Like there's just trending hashtags out there, and you can like use AI or Google to find out what are the trending hashtags right now on Poshmark. Let's see. Why is for yield. And what I mean by yield, of course, is your how much you're making, right? Because we're all profitability. We're all in this to make a profit. We're not doing this, for a hobby. We are business people, and we are looking to make a profit for our work, right? We're looking to get paid for our time. And you can use third products like Flipwise that I don't personally use. I'm not affiliated with them, but I know people that love this product because it gives them really good information, really good analytics on the return on investment. So they can make decisions, right, on where they want to purchase or what they want to purchase in the future. So think about your profitability and ways to track your profit and your margins, and understand what's going to yield you your best results. All right, so I already actually covered Z, if you've been following my social media. So that concludes our ABCs of reselling. So wow, that was really fun. I enjoyed putting that together, and I hope these tips bring you some help, or bring you some things to think about. Let's see. So we are just about out of time. I hope to hear from you guys soon. If you have questions or comments, you can reach out to us. Contact at treecat.io. We've got our Reddit forum, and we've got the question mark in the right upper corner. I guess this would be this way, the right upper corner, and when you're in Treecat. or to file a trouble ticket or what have you. We do appreciate, hearing from you so that we can make our product better if there's an issue. And we, pride ourselves on our customer support. So, with that being said, I hope you have a great weekend and um, take care. Mahalo. Bye.